Fire them up. That's what we do at the Andrew Gosser Show. We fire them up right here on 1039 WYAB, where we are streaming on Rumble, where we are streaming on X, where we are streaming on YouTube. No one truly cares about Facebook, fam. And we're streaming at the mothership that is WYAB.com. So if you can't pick up the 50,000 watt blowtorch of a signal that is 1039 WYAB, help us build the station, grow the channel, like, share, and subscribe right now. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a Democrat. Yep, and follow me on X. I'm posting some fire today. It's just at Andrew Gosser, AndrewGasser. It's good stuff over there, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to be part of the phone call today or the program today, the phone number is 601-879-0002. Text line is open at 601-879-5060. Yep, and no matter what's going on, the mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show is standard. We are here to equip the saints. Who are the saints? Y'all are the saints. But blessed are your eyes because they see, and blessed are your ears because they can hear. And ladies and gentlemen, I titled today's show Proof of Simulation with a question mark after it. Normally I just do the comma and the today's date, but I went with a question mark because, as I usually do, I'm having a great time jumping in with Brother Clay and Brother Creston for the second hour of the Clay Edwards Show, largest morning radio show in Mississippi, by the way, right here on 1039 WYB. Just saying. And we get talking about stuff, and the ideas that I have for my show prep are different than Clay's or from Lindsay's or from Kim's, and that's all right. But sometimes things just happen, and for a reason, and things pop up in front of me, and we're gonna get to the crazy witches running the world right now via TikTok and Instagram. But things just open up and are shown to me. And what was shown to me was Congressman Representative Womack, Republican of Tennessee. And he is being censored. And sometimes all we have to do is remember our history so we're not doomed to repeat it. And you know what? I have a lot of liberal friends that said, well, I went out and did my research and I couldn't find it. And I genuinely believe most of the time that they say they've gone out and they've done their research. But I would argue they've tried to do their research and they've come back faulty because the big tech oligarchs, the people who control the literal consciousness of humanity through Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, are hiding things from you in plain sight. In plain sight. And I found this from a click, from a click, from a click. And, you know, sometimes I talk about it in like one of the texters texted in yesterday saying, Andrew, you're just arrogant and boastful. I can't help it if we're on the cutting edge of societal evolution. Do you really think it's my own brain power that leads me to these things that come up before me? I'm telling you, it's not. Now, the old Andy, he would have been arrogant and boastful. But I humbly submit to you that things are happening in my life for a reason. Doctor's office visit yesterday went great, by the way. People asking how that is. It went good. Follow up in November and a follow up a little bit sooner than that. I've got a joke. I'm still debating whether I want to tell my joke over the air or not. It's pretty good. Of course, it's Parkinson's related. But getting back to it, on this show, we've gone over certain Islamic terms, and we've gone over certain ideas that are put forth in the Quran and in the Hadiths. And I'll tell you what, the comments I get from that, how is it that when I study and go to learn the truth about something, the people who are supposed to be the scholars and experts get mad at me for calling out and just reading verbatim the truth? Well, that's not a good translation from Arabic to English. Well, that's what we got. There's only one Quran. I can point out to 16 different Qurans with different translations in Arabic. What's going on here? But the truth is America was a lot smarter back then than it is now. I argue that our mainstream media is nothing more than a gentle nudge, like a Saturday morning cartoon back in the day, slowly pushing us over the edge, slowly changing the consciousness of our sons and daughters. I'm looking at myself in the mirror when I say that too. You know, the Toots McCracken sent me a picture of a dress and said green or red. And honestly, I want to read this conversation because these are the types of conversations that I have. And you know, here's the thing about it: I'm not making fun of my daughter. I don't tease my daughter. I'm none of that. Of course, we joke around and have fun, but when it comes to certain stuff, I do not mess around. And she texts me these 2 pictures, and what these are a picture of the same dress, one in green and one in red. And then, if you saw a woman walking down the street like this, you would know she a hoe. The Godfather would be all over that, on the hoe train. And this is what I said: green, but yikes, that looks short. Not leaving much to the imagination. You can quote me on that. Mama already approved it. Okay, I'm not mad, just giving you my opinion. If it was up to me, I'd say no. It objectifies you, and you are beautiful. Okay. Guess what? She didn't get the dress. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a perfect example of how to parent. And I'm not patting myself on the back. I just know my daughter. I know my kids. She doesn't have an iPad. Praise Jesus. She does have an iPhone, and she's on it way too much. But I fight the battles where I can. And she's got enough common sense to know that I'm not going to lie to her. I'm not going to make fun of her. I'm not going to dismiss her thoughts or her rationale. We will debate and argue, and oh, she doesn't like that. And there's even they call it the political mode. When I get into politician or political mode at the household, you know it's going to be tough. And I have to again humble myself before my wife, my daughter, and God, not necessarily in that order, because I know I can be right but still get it wrong. Just like many of you men out there, you get it right, you know you have the right answer, but because you can't convince your wife, your spouse, your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, I'm talking to both sexes here, but because you can't convince them of your point of view, you end up being wrong. And that is exactly what is happening in the mainstream media and with our internet providers and our social media agents of chaos. I genuinely believe that YouTube's trying to take down humanity. You know, they're already destroying YouTube content creators. Their AI agents are taking up all the best AI or all the best content creators and making AI simulations. And they're giving them real names. And honestly, the AI is getting so good. The new Grok is so good. The new Claude is so good. You can't tell the difference. You might have seen new commercials when you're watching and scrolling through YouTube for Timo ads. And I can tell it's AI, but only because of very faintly in the voice. Video, no way to tell that it's AI, unless it was to tell you it was AI. I look at our mainstream news media sources, and I see what they're trying to push down our throats. And I get it, ABC, CBS, ABC, CNN, Fox News, MS Now / BS Always. They're always gonna give us propaganda, and not pro-American propaganda, by the way, like they did in World War II. Could you imagine? And I say this all the time, but I had one of my listener friends give me a text yesterday and say, "I couldn't imagine living through World War II with the media we have today. Couldn't imagine it." And I can't imagine it either, but yet here we are. When you have so much information available, when you have so much content to consume in a day, you've only got 24 hours and your baud rate is 1. If you're really good, you might be at 1.5. You might be able to watch YouTube and TikTok at 1.5 or maybe even 2.0. So you might be up to 2 baud How much content is created in a day? Not nearly enough for you or the Clay Edwards Show, or the Chip Matthews Show, or the Lindsey Beckham Show, or the Kim Wade Show, or any other awesome local programming that's not AI generated, that won't tout necessarily a party line or a political point of view. One of the greatest comments I got, it wasn't yesterday, it was over the weekend, was from a liberal who couldn't believe that I actually had the ability to criticize Senator Wicker, Senator Hyde Smith, and President Trump. And I came back and I said, "Yes, I disagreed with him, but I'm not doing the crazy TikTok clicks for clicks type of argument either." I respect Cindy Hyde Smith. I respect Roger Wicker. Met them both. Just ran into Cindy last week. Brother Philip, if you want to call in, 601-879-0002, by the way. I didn't get his he wanted to call in yesterday, I think, to talk about our luncheon rant that we ran into, and he might have a different view than me, which would be awesome. But we have to be able to have these differing opinions even within the political left and the political right. And we have to be able to go back and read the books that our forefathers gave to us, the papers, specifically the Federalist Papers. And I don't want Federalist Papers from downloading from an internet source. If it's on the internet, I almost don't trust it anymore. When the lights go off, who's gonna have books to read? Who's gonna have a copy of the Declaration of Independence? Who's gonna have a copy of the Federalist Papers? More importantly, who's gonna have a copy of the Holy Bible? Because I promise you this, once the AC goes off and the power goes off and people start realizing that it ain't coming back on for a bit, they're gonna find Jesus real quick. And I'm just telling you, we are in a simulation of grand proportions, and when we get back, we got the audio to prove it. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. I appreciate the numbers of people watching online. It's really awesome. Great to see everybody on YouTube. We're gonna play a YouTube clip from 2011 coming up, but you can't search for it. You won't find it. It's unlisted. But if you have X, you're gonna be able to find it, and it's gonna really drive home some of the points that we've been talking about over the past months and year here on the Andrew Gosser Show. Be right back. Yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 1039 WYAB, where we point out the simulation mind games that are being perpetrated upon the American people and the people of the world for that matter. Well, we're not afraid to talk about the truth, even if it makes you uncomfortable. 601-879-0002 is the show number if you want to be part of the program today. And this is coming from Representative Womack, Republican of Tennessee.
What about the thousands of Muslims that are still in the military, that are veterans, that are translators, that are active personnel? Is there some type of policy solution that you're advocating, or are you just raising awareness?
I think
And before we get into Congressman Womack, I want to make a point here. And caller, I see you. I'll get to you in just a second. I just want to make a quick point here. Rush used to love the source think progress. And that's one of the things that he's talking about is think progress right here. But caller, you're on the line. Air, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if all the folks out there are aware, but a Muslim company just bought the world's largest producer publisher of the Bible.
Oh, I have that story, brother. I have that story. It's true. It's not the Crown Prince, which is, and this is what they do. They take a story where a prince from Saudi Arabia bought controlling interest in the largest producer of the Bible, and they'll say it's the Saudi Crown Prince, which are two different princes. But because it's not true, the fact checkers come in and say, oh, it's not true. The Crown Prince didn't do that. And they don't expect you to pay attention to what's going on. Do you have you have a link to that or anything, brother?
I do, but I can't send it until later today.
Will you send it to me later, friend? Because I've read the story. I've seen the tweets on it. I don't have it in front of me. I could have it fit in today's show. If it gets here within the next hour or so, I'll try to put it in today. But if not, I'll definitely do it on the next show, if that's okay.
Yeah, it won't be today. It won't be today. I'll get it to you, but it'll be later. Well, have a good day.
Brother, I appreciate you being out there. You have a good day too, my friend. Stay safe. Yeah. Man, see, my listeners, and I call it my in a lovingly way. I really know it's not mine. I know it's the WYAB family, and it's been around a lot longer than I've been here at the show, and it'll be around a lot longer after I leave. But you guys are simply the best. You guys take the time to learn this stuff, and you get the word out. And you can't hope to change all of Mississippi, but everybody on your block should know that a prince of Saudi Arabia bought, I think it's 6.6% controlling interest in the world's largest or third largest producer of Bibles. Coincidence? I think not. Before that caller called in, we had Congressman Womack Republican from Tennessee talking about the influence of Islam in the military. I want to back this up just a touch. And Rush always used to say he loved using the left as a source to illustrate how they think and how they actually act and operate. And ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to take a page right out of the EIB playbook. Here we go in 3, 2, 1.
Is there some type of policy solution that you're advocating, or are you just raising awareness?
I think what you're going to have, you can't, if you really take the Quran and the Sunnah, which is the Hadith and the Sirah, which is the teachings of Muhammad, and you read those, and I read them. I was flying on September 11th.
Andrew, you're always giving the Republicans a free pass. My biological father was flying on September 11th too, but that doesn't make him an expert on Islam. But I do agree that you taking the time to study Islam, the Sunnah, the Quran, and the Hadiths, you are definitely on the right track, Mr. Congressman.
And that's when I really started to study and learn who the enemy was. I've got the Quran, the Sunnah, and the Sirah, or the Hadith and Sirah in English. I've gone through it and I've studied it. If you look and read and study that, if you believe it, then you are commanded to kill anybody who will not convert to Islam.
And by that very fact right there, Mr. Congressman, you are against the Constitution of the United States. You are against the word of God that influenced so many of our founding fathers. Did you know that 13 out of 13 colonies, no, I believe it was 12 out of 13 colonies, one was Catholic. You had to have a declaration of faith, and that declaration of faith proclaimed Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior if you wanted to run for office. That's what our founding fathers were thinking back in 1776. Don't tell me that the Bible was not on the minds of our founding fathers. Even Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson, the two quote-unquote deists. But Congressman's onto something here. He's onto something.
You are commanded to lie to the infidels. You can actually get praise and get to go to heaven, or increase your chances of going to heaven by doing that.
Yep. Through jihad, man, you get your 72 virgins. It's real. I had it explained to me on the tarmac of the Kabul International Airport by one of the Afghani controllers. Explained it to me clear as day in perfect English. Now, he had an Arabic accent, but it was perfect English. You could understand exactly what he was saying. Totally understand it.
So the question, and it's called Takia. The question is,
where did we hear of Takia before, ladies and gentlemen? Did you hear that on other local radio news stations? Did you hear it on WLBT? Did you hear it on WABT? CNN, ABC, CBS, MS Now / BS Always, CNN, Fox News, FAUX News? Or did you hear it here first on the Andrew Gosper Show? I'm just asking for a friend. I'm not trying to be arrogant or boastful. I'm just asking.
As a devout Muslim, do you really believe everything in the Sunnah and the Quran? Or are you one of those Muslims who go, well, I don't believe much of it, I just practice it? If that's the case, then you could probably be in our military. But the problem I have is, are you committing Takia? Are you purposefully lying to me to get by? That's what Nida Hassan did. That's what the other, I forget the PFC who was just arrested in Texas for trying to make a bomb and set it off and kill some of his.
And what was really interesting, as soon as I started playing this, my streaming audience collapsed to near zero. None on YouTube now. I had 21 people following me on YouTube, and then all of a sudden, bloop, gone. Coincidence? I think not. It's simulation. This video that I'm playing for you, by the way, you can find it on X at Andrew Gosser. I've retweeted it. But I'm telling you this too. You cannot search for this video. I found it by the grace of God. Backdoor neighbor had a daughter, had a favor. And I gave YouTube a little bit of a hookup. And we got this. And everybody should be listening to this. This should be played in every high school public civics class and U.S. history class. Because what they're teaching about Islam today is not what we were teaching back when this video came out.
Fellow soldiers. I mean, this is going on in our military. Do you
remember the Fort Hood shooting with that Major Hassan dude? This is when this was coming out.
Obama just appointed 2 devout Muslims to the Department of Homeland Security.
Oh, it's not a big deal to appoint a Muslim judge. It's not a big deal. Ladies and gentlemen, this video was 2011. 2011. It started with 2 Muslims in Homeland Security. Now look at our Homeland Security. From 2021 to 2024 or 2025, when President Trump came back into office. Wide open borders. Coincidence?
We have the foxes guarding the hen house.
I would know something about the foxes guarding the hen house, but I also had Isaiah and Delilah and Phoebe and Ezekiel and Eli and Ghosty, and I'm forgetting one, but that's okay. Oh, how could I forget Brother Samson? Oh, and Mags. Couldn't forget Mags. God rest Samson and Mags' soul in Isaiah's 2. Muslims don't even like dogs. What the hell is wrong with someone if they don't like dogs? Crazy cat ladies, I get it, but if I'm being truthful, and the Sweet Bee and Toots would say it right here with you, I'm more of a cat person. Brother Troy Meow Meow appears to be doing all right. Meow Meow transitioned from a household kitty cat to a barn cat. And he's doing a pretty good job. He hates everything. He's going to fit in just fine. Let's continue.
Own personal opinion. The Department of Homeland Security was created after 9/11 to prevent terrorism, in particular Islamic terrorism. And I'll go a step further. And this is from the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice put out statistics from terrorist acts from Civil War to 2000. And what we find are acts from the KKK, union leaders, etc., happening basically up through 2000. In 2000 through 2010, there's been 323, I believe, when I speak today, I'll be giving those numbers, 323 acts of terrorism in the United States, domestic terrorism, of which 290 have been radical Islamic terrorists.
Could you imagine instead of radical Islamic terrorists that was replaced with the Ku Klux Klan? I wonder if you could replace radical Islamic terrorism with Southern Poverty Law Center. Just asking.
We're up to over 85% of the acts of terrorism in this country now caused by Islamists. Before 2000, they really didn't exist, 1 or 2%. Why such an increase in Islamic terrorism since 2000? So yes, I personally, I don't trust one Muslim in our military because they're commanded to lie to us through the term called taqiyya. And if they truly are a devout Muslim and follow the Quran and the Sunnah, then I feel threatened.
And what he is saying right there is the quiet part out loud. And anybody who ever stood gate guard duty at Camp Phoenix in Kabul, Afghanistan, you know it. Is this guy lying to me, Taqiyya, Kitman, or is this guy truthful? I would say if anybody was at Camp Phoenix in Kabul, Afghanistan, everybody knew who Rambo was. If you were there and you knew who Rambo was down for the struggle. But other guys, even the guys who I controlled airplanes with from the Taliban, they never once gave an inkling that they're thinking something different. But just by sitting there and studying Quran with them and having them sit there and I'd listen to them pray and I'd listen to the call to prayer. I did that, man. I wanted to know. And unfortunately, you've got these tic-tackers, these Insta women who have now become the subject matter experts of everything. Just ask them on TikTok. They'll tell you they know more. Now they're starting to really influence culture and society, and we're turning into crap.
Because they're commanded to kill me.
You believe they should be forced out?
I absolutely am. I think we should have the Muslim faith is not necessarily a religion. Here's what people don't understand.
This is so true because you can be a Muslim man and be in the United States military and you're good to go. It's the Islamic faith that gets you.
Islam it's like a rope, and you have several different strands in the rope. Islam is a religion. It's also a political theology and ideology. It's also a finance system, and it's a legal system. You cannot separate that rope. You can cut the rope, but you still have two pieces of the rope. Unless you try to unwind that rope, and if you've ever tried that, the rope always tries to go back together. That's what Islam is. It's all of these things intertwined and bound together. You cannot separate religion from Islam. You cannot separate Sharia law, which is Sharia finance, which is the legal system, which is the ideology, from Islam.
And we have politicians here in Mississippi say, "Oh, the 2015 bill is good to go." No, it's not. No, it is not. I would argue that with anybody who's sitting there and putting that in front of me. It's not stopping Sharia law from advancing across the state of Mississippi. It's not stopping. We've got all these separation of church and state laws. What it really is separation of Christianity from America, which is what America was founded upon, and that's why the country's turning into crap. Because we know better. We don't need God. We don't need to go back to Deuteronomy and Leviticus. And yes, there's a lot of crazy stuff in Leviticus and Deuteronomy that was pertinent for its time. And some things have changed. Hygiene comes to mind. You think about it, and there are many Christian and Jewish scholars out there who can talk about that. I just know that when I go back and I read things like Blackstone, and I read Leviticus, and I read Founding Fathers Federalist Papers, I see where our Constitution was written from. Let's finish this up real quick.
Altogether. It's an all or none deal, because as a devout Muslim, you don't believe in any one part or follow any one part, you will go straight to hell according to the Quran.
And that is one of the differences between Christianity, Judaism, and Islam right there. You don't have to agree with the Christian. He might even tell you that you're going to hell, but he's not going to blow up your car for not believing in Jesus Christ. You can have a Jew sit there, say, if you don't agree with him, he might spit on you or spit at your feet, but he's not going to blow up your car either. And before all you people talk about Gaza, I was in Gaza in 1994 and 95. It was beautiful when Israel had it. The fruit fields were great. The housing was great. We weren't having any problems, except for small Islamic terrorist cells from Islamic Jihad and the Al-Aqsa Martyr Brigades. But history wants us to forget that too. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. Be right back. Dude, that's just crazy. The YouTube numbers absolutely just crashed when I started playing that YouTube video. It's like the AI agent knew what video I was playing and immediately X'd it all off. Crazy. Oh, welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB, where I will not let you down. 601-879-0002. Sister Lisa texting in, where can I go to find and listen to your past shows? Is there any place besides X to listen to the video that you are playing now? Yes. I have posted the link to the direct video on X, but it's also on YouTube, but I wouldn't know how to do that. I'm banned from social or from Facebook. So it'll let me post my video to Facebook, but I can't post like anything else. It's really weird. My phone won't even let me into the app. And I'm okay with that. But if you go to Rumble, just search for Andrew Gosser. You'll find it there. I might try to download it and re-upload it to Rumble just for historical purposes. Rumble seems to be a good place, but even there, it can get lost in the algorithm. It can get lost in the algorithm. Andrew, you're nothing but a hater. You're really on this anti-Islamic kick. Oh, it's only because I've seen it firsthand and many of you haven't. I would say 99% of America has not witnessed Sharia in action in real time. If you've been to Iraq, if you've been to Afghanistan, yep, that checks in. You've gone on a vacation to Dubai or Abu Dhabi, that doesn't count. You've gone to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, it doesn't count. You go to the Egyptian tourist cities, that doesn't count. When you roll up into some of these smaller towns and you see what Sharia is actually doing, it'll make your blood boil, and at the same time, your heart will break and weep uncontrollable tears. Because the only thing that's making your life good and their life suck is the flag that was on your shoulder or on your chest, depending on where you did it. And I never was one of those guys who was ever wearing the flag on the chest, and I don't claim to be. If you know, you know. Egyptian sentenced to life for funding Muslim Brotherhood, giving money to Abdul al-Said's U.S. Senate campaign. Mohammed Sultan was sentenced by an Egyptian court to life in prison in 2015 after spending 2 years behind bars alongside his father, Salah Sultan, a leading figure of the Muslim Brotherhood. As we know, Muslim Brotherhood is a terrorist organization outlined by Great Britain and several other countries. The Egyptian-American activist sentenced to life in prison in absentia, so he's not even in jail, it's absentee, by a Cairo court for his support of Muslim Brotherhood is pumping cash into Abdul al-Said's campaign for U.S. Senate. And this is what really angers me. I'm not going to cuss, but I could get away with one. This is what really angers me about Republicans and moderate Democrats and those of us who are in the sensible middle. We have the evidence that shows how evil is using our own Constitution, our own Bill of Rights against us to take us down, and we're not doing anything about it. Mohammed Sultan, the 38-year-old president of the American Committee for Middle East Rights, is funneling funds to al-Said's Abdul's for U.S. Senate candidate committee, has contributed to Fighting for Michigan PAC, the super PAC backing the former Wayne County health official. Sultan was sentenced. I don't care about that. How much money did he give? I'm scrolling. I don't see it. Mohammed Sultan faced charges for aiding protests against the military coup that ousted Morsi, including funding for the membership of the Muslim Brotherhood, before launching a hunger strike that convinced former President Barack Obama administration to demand his release in 2015. You hear that, Jackson, Mississippi? You commit a crime, you just go on a hunger strike and write a letter to Obama. He'll get you out. Thinking about all those other people who deserve a pardon and a letter from the president to get out. Sultan was sentenced to death and life in prison for separate trials, inciting murder as one of more than 50 leading members of the Muslim Brotherhood who set up a control room to direct violence and chaos amid the 2013 coup. How many of you actually remember the coup that went down in Egypt? I was in active duty at the time. I remember talking to some of my active duty bubbas about that. You know, that's the thing about when you go from active duty to retiree, you still have the bubbas out there who will tell you unclass stuff and ask you your opinion on stuff. Hey, you remember that time we were in Afghanistan in 2009? Yeah, I remember that. Remember this guy over here? Yeah, I remember that. But it just it's set up all in front of us, and we're not doing anything. So this guy's political action committee, ACMER, sent Fighting for Michigan $25,000 on June 12th, following 2 more contributions from Mohammed Sultan Abdul for U.S. Senate on April 15th. The individual constitution constitutes the maximum permitted by federal election law. Then Treasurer Muna Dundi contributed $15,000 to Fighting for Michigan PAC on June 7th and $7,000 to Abdul for U.S. Senate on 24 June. Man, they're just like the Democrats and the Republicans. They got their high value donors and they're just sitting there funneling it all off. Now, we got to be truthful here. The Islamists, they don't have it as good as Act Blue's got it yet, although they might be utilizing Act Blue. I don't know. I'm just making that speculation for myself. But they're playing the American political game sweet. They got it locked in. El Said suggested that even if Muslim Brotherhood were to take power, there are several reasons why ensuring state would look nothing like Iran, noting that the Brotherhood is Sunni, which is less hierarchical. I can't say that anymore. Hierarchical than the Shiite brand of Muslim religion. This is a lie from the devil's mouth himself. Sunni and Shia might have problems, but that's like saying that the Marine Corps and the Navy are going to go in a fight in a port of call. Yeah, the Marines will beat the heck out of the sailors, and the sailors might have 1 or 2 good shots in there, but that fight's going to happen. But you have one local turn on the squid or the Marine, and watch how quickly it goes from the United States Marine Corps versus the United States Navy to the U.S. whooping everybody's butt in the bar. I almost cussed right there. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. Be right back. And we are back here at the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. You know, I love first time texters, first time chatters, or at least ones I recognize. Parker says, if the founding fathers of this nation were in charge today, what would they do? And brother, I would say at a minimum, it would be a Boston Tea Party. I think there'd be people be up in arms, but we're not, because we've been culturally put into this pot to be desensitized to violence, to be controlled by social media. And I'm telling you what, we're in trouble, because us old timers, the ones who remember, we're dropping like flies. And the Gen Xers, the GWAT warriors of Gen X, you know, we're that second to last line. You've got the millennials who are out there, who GWATers. And by the way, GWATers, we're tough. What's going on right now is tough, but it's a different type of gravy. And that's just like trying to compare Vietnam vets to World War II vets to Korean vets. All different gravy. They all did what they needed to do, but it is a different type of fight. It's a different type of fight. Another one checking in right here. First time texter, don't know, unknown texter, but on the text line. Andrew, thank you for your voice. Don't stop spouting the truth. Many Americans base their opinion on other countries by some resort they visited. They don't know the real culture or what other places in the world actually look like. Yeah, I want to tell a story real quick. This just reminded me of a story in Afghanistan. There was this bread that you could get, and they could put goat, sheep, lamb. If you had the money, it was lamb. You never really saw steak and other assorted rat meat and rodent meat in the, and it was spiced up really good. And I remember Habibi, he that wasn't his name, it's just what everybody called him. And he would bring this bread. And the thing is that the bread was over his shoulder. They were really long pieces of bread, maybe 2.5, 3 feet long, but they would transport this bread via a bicycle or motor scooter, and they'd have it over the shoulder. Now, this was unsanitary as heck, man. It was unsanitary as heck. But that's the culture there. And that's the culture they want to bring here. Now, that bread was good stuff too, man. Um, it's not as good as the Sweet Bees bread. I'm just being truthful there. But the way that guy would spice the bread, I could tell that it wasn't just like a regular white bread. There was like garlic and pepper and a little bit of cayenne or some type of spice, Middle East spice with some heat in it. Oh, it was delicious, especially with the goat and the lamb. Oh, it was fantastic. I'd eat it all the time. Now, the first time you eat it, make sure that you're not having to go out on duty the next day, because you're gonna get some bugs and you're gonna be spending some time in the latrine. But after your stomach gets inclined to it, oh, it was the greatest stuff ever. It was the greatest stuff ever. And you know, those are the types of stories that don't get talked about. And these people who sit there and watch a Natural Geographic documentary and think that they got the whole thing figured out, they're crazy. They're crazy. But speaking of crazy, ladies and gentlemen, in the next hour, we got to talk about this Lindsay case. I don't even know her. I almost said Lindsay Lohan. This Lindsay chick. What's happening to women? What is happening to our beautiful women? They're being infected with the woke mind virus. That's what's happening. They're taking to TikTok to vent their rage. We're going to talk about it next here on the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, that 2% tax sure was a pain in the neck. Could you imagine if we had 2% tax here today? Man, we would be in a different place. We would be in a different place. Man, if I get time in the next hour, I've got to talk about how pissed off would we be if there's just a 2% tax. Yeah. We're back here at the Andrew Gosser Show, right on 103.9 WYAB. We're ready to rock and roll in hour number 2, where we are streaming on Rumble, where we are streaming on X, where we are streaming on YouTube, where we're streaming on Facebook, even though no one cares. And we are streaming at WYAB.com. So if you can't pick up the 50,000 watt blowtorch of a signal, that is 103.9 WYAB. Help us grow the station. Help us grow the channel. Visit one of our sponsors. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend. Tell a neighbor. Tell a Democrat. Tell a Muslim. Tell a Christian. Let's get it all in there, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to be part of the program today, 601-879-0002. Text line is open, 601-879-5060. I really like the new texters that text in. I don't read them all or on air, but I do get to them, and I appreciate that. And the mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show is standard. We are here to equip the saints. Who are the saints? Y'all are the saints. You know that, though. But blessed are you for your eyes, because they are, let me try that again. See, I tried to sit there and put my own twist on it, and when you ever try to put your own twist on the word, it just gets screwed up. But blessed are your eyes, because they see, and blessed are your ears, because they hear. And that's what we're doing here at the Andrew Gosser Show. That might be the only scripture some people hear all day. And I'm going to continue to do that here at the Andrew Gosser Show. Biblical worldviews where we don't run away from it, where we're not afraid of it. We call it like we see it. And if you don't like it, you're more than welcome to call in and we can have that debate. We can have that talk. I'm all about it. I'm an equal opportunity offender. Just ask some of my conservative friends. They'll let you know. And during the break, I got this text from Parker, and we were talking about Boston Tea Party, and this is what he wrote. He goes, "That was a simple 2% tax. This situation is astounding. Think about this. We went to not civil war. We went to revolutionary war over a 2% tax. Today, whether you want to know it or not, your net effective tax is 55% in America. For every dollar you make, 55% is going to Uncle Sam in one tax or another. It might be the gas tax. It might be the food tax. It might be the property tax. It might be your income tax. It might be the sanitary water district tax. It might be the mosquito abatement tax. It might be the township tax. There are more taxes out there that take your money: state tax, federal tax, sales tax. We went to war over 2%. Now you got people who won't even tip 2% when they get a good meal at a Waffle House. The culture. I'm not saying who it is. I'm just saying that's what the culture is. And speaking of culture, this one's for all the ladies. Men, you don't get it to chime in on this real quick. But where have you gone? Where has the decency gone? Where has the modesty gone? Where's the dignity and intelligence gone? The true beauty of a woman, not with makeup and bustiers and all that craziness. I'm talking about traditional females, because that's what men are looking for. I'm just being truthful with you, just like Pastor Manning. If you have never listened to Pastor Manning, by the way, all of you, for homework tonight, go look up on YouTube or X or Rumble, Pastor Manning, and get ready to strap in, sit in, buckle up. I mean, you better have the fitness of a Blue Angel or a Thunderbird, because what you are about to hear are biblical world truths that I can't say because I'm white. But what he drops from the pulpit is unbelievable. I can hear Pastor Brian saying, "Andy, watch your mouth, watch your mouth." Pastor Brian gives me great covering, and I'm grateful for him. But women, what happened to you? One of your favorite news sites now is the Mary Sue, which is leftist feminist rot gut. Another one, Jezebel, a demon from the Bible, from the Old Testament. Your mind has gone to something like Herodias, who ended up banging the king and divorcing her husband and having her daughter dance around in front of the new king to get John the Baptizer killed. No, I'm not talking from The Chosen. Go read the scripture yourself. Women, your idols and the people that you're following, like Taylor Swift, Katy Perry, countless other women, Madonna, are all demons. And you are leading your daughters down a path that is not going to end well. One texter saying, do you really care what your daughter wears? Yes, I do. She'll tell you too. And the great thing is that I'm not a jerk about it. So when my daughter really has a question about what to wear or if a question on life, she knows that she can come to me and goes, Dad, I've got to ask you something. And I know right there that this is a no BS zone, no teasing, no none of that, that she's coming to me because I'm her father. And she can go to her mother and say the exact same thing. But no, modern women today on TikTok and on Instagram want to follow Jezebel, Herodias, Madonna, Taylor Swift, Katy Perry, and a bunch of other hoes. And guys, let's be truthful about something, because we're men and we can talk about this. No man wants to be with a woman who has a body count that is over 5 long term. Preferably, if we followed the Lord word, it'd be a body count of 1, and we'd be a body count of 1, but that's not where our society is today, is it? We're just being truthful. We're being men. We're being honest. Well, a woman, what makes you think that a woman wants to do that? That's not how the rules work. Well, that's being hypocritical. No, it's because we're all wrong for sinning and not following that. Well, the demons are spawning, ladies and gentlemen, over the Lindsay Clancy case. And this is coming from Thomas Corbin Dillon. And this is a 1 minute and 38 seconds of pure common sense versus pure satanic devil worshiper, demon Jezebel spirit.
They should be commended because they did.
I've had it with you.
Oh my God! They
And
should be
your
commended. They
sexism
didn't
and
kill their children.
misogyny.
Throwing out big words, and we're not even getting to the argument yet.
She's a murderer.
I
These women
can't.
are cheering.
I'm done.
These are.
Yes, Lindsay Clancy is a murderer. She murdered her 3 kids. Don't care if it was postpartum. Don't care what it was. She killed those 3 kids. Maybe it was 2. Maybe I'm getting my fingers crossed, wires crossed. Didn't matter. She killed her kids, and she deserves to go to jail. They've lost their blooming minds.
Man-hating women that are standing outside. This is what it's about. They think the husband did it. They're crazy. They've lost their mind.
Do you know why
they're
woman is in
waving
a
for a
wheelchair?
murderer?
Do you know why the woman is in a wheelchair? Did you even notice that she's
Couldn't
in a
care less.
wheelchair?
She's a murderer.
And you can see Satan start to spawn out of this woman. She can't believe it. And the other news hoster guy, and I'm going to retweet this on my X account so you guys can go ahead and check it out too. It's always cool when I see retweet something and I see the numbers jump up. It makes me happy. Thank you for everybody who does that. But this woman is completely losing her mind.
Because she jumped out the window after this happened.
So she should have. I'd have pushed her. They say that Lindsay was in psychosis. I think these women are suffering from psychosis.
This is true. When they get on all this Xanax and other pill popping regime that these kids are being indoctrinated into, you mean you've got high school kids on Ozempic for weight issues. No idea what the other side effects are. Here you go. Just give it to a teenage girl or a teenage boy whose body's still turning into an adult. Let's see what these drugs do. Joseph Mengele and Dr. Fauci could not be more proud of the women's movement today.
They've been watching too many true crime Netflix dramas. You know, this was
What's up with that, by the way? Chicks watching true crime and Netflix. It's like they all of a sudden turned into FBI investigators. They can figure out anything via TikTok, Instagram, and a bottle of gin. They are the experts. It's madness. And people say that demons aren't real, that the devil's not real. Just look at this lady's face. It's pure hatred and evil. And the only reason she's sitting there, she's dressed, I'm not going to say she's dressed like a hoochie, but she's definitely not dressed modestly. And if she was in an Islamic country, she would be in a burqa, gang raped, and put in a house somewhere and used as a tool, a sex tool. She wouldn't be having the freedoms that she's enjoying here on this radio or on this TV program.
Incredibly privileged woman, incredibly wealthy. She had a nanny, and she's still complaining that she needed help. She could not have got more help from the.
She looks so mad. The evil in her face. This woman had a nanny, for crying out loud. It's not like she had to wake up every hour, change a diaper, which is one of the greatest memories of my life with my boys. Having that honor to be there to help take care of my kids. That's a badge of honor, not a bottle of gin, a Xanax, and go to complain on TikTok about how hard it is to be a woman with a nanny. Andy, you're being too hard on women. No, this is what women have allowed themselves to become, and they deserve honest critique. You know, every woman in America, regardless of income or job or education, is a privileged woman. And if you don't believe me, let me airdrop you into Somalia for a day or two, and let me come back and then show your American privilege. This is why I say that we're in a simulation. This TikTok stuff is gone way too far. Hundreds of thousands of women every day are sitting there talking about how this woman is not guilty. How women have never had it harder in history. How many of us are thinking that right to vote and women's suffrage thing might have been a bad idea? Again, the devil plays the long game. Hundreds of years, over almost 100 years, over 100 years to get to that point. Same with income tax. Same with the senators. It took over 100 years to destroy the Constitution in that way. And that was just a pinpoint attack. People think I'm the crazy one. I'm just sitting here. I've got eyes to see and ears to hear, ladies and gentlemen.
System that she already have received. This is a murderer who strangled her children one by one. One of the boys ran away and she chased him down and killed him.
Laurie Watkins.
What you just said was absolutely disgusting.
Thank you.
You should be
It's disgusting to tell the truth, you evil witch.
ashamed of yourself.
you.
And you can hear that he's not. Okay?
Why? Because it's true.
You clearly don't care, so pipe down.
I don't care. And by the way, men.
You know, men, can we put the chivalry crap aside for a minute? And I would never think to strike a woman. But these women don't realize they're getting to a point where the men out there are not chivalrous. They didn't grow up in the 80s and the 90s where it was wrong to strike a woman. We're practicing religions now where the book openly says to strike women if they don't listen to you. And this woman's going to get her clock cleaned one day for mouthing off to the wrong man. And then it's going to be, oh, the man. No, it's the Jezebel spirit inside this woman.
Men watching this, if you have a woman sat next to you on the sofa who is defending this murderer, you got to think deeply about this. I've seen weddings.
So we need to have some empathy with.
Talk to your women.
Have some empathy. How about some empathy for the kids who are dead, who are strangled to death? And it's not like they got their heads blown off in Instamort. Strangled to death. Fighting and gasping for air. And these crazy, lunatic, drugged out women are saying that the mom is the victim in all of this. They're all victims, Andy. No BS. BS. Our morals have declined to the point to where you can actually go on TV and make content out of this. There are literally hundreds of hours every minute being uploaded into TikTok about this. You couldn't watch all the content on Lindsay Clancy today if you wanted to. And yet, some of our young teenage girls are going to use their waking moments to watch crap like this, and instead of the joys of being a wife and a mother and the traditional marriage, they get all this other stuff, and it's just destroying women. You can't even argue it. You can't even debate it.
And
There's a
find out
difference.
what are they thinking? They're defending this woman. It's
I don't think
insane.
anybody's defending what she did, but you can have empathy for what she
Nobody
went
is.
through and how she.
I know many women that this has happened to. No, they did not kill their children, but they also, what you failed to
Well,
mention.
they should be commended
quiet,
because they did.
please.
Man, when she gets mouthy like that, you lose me. And this was on a Fox show. I don't know which one it is, but I've retweeted it. But this just goes to show you how angry these liberal women are. And I'm not saying conservative women. I'm not even saying those of you women who are in the middle of the road. But when they're coming from a place of anger and where they're defending murder like this, we've lost our way. We used to be an open trust society where people ran to their mothers. Now their mothers run to a bottle of vodka, Xanax, maybe some oxycodone, and cry on TikTok to hundreds of thousands of followers who will never know her personally, but they'll drink up her crocodile tears. And she'll get Homemaker of the Month award for her block. Man, if you can't see, if you don't have eyes to see, if you don't have ears to hear, I don't know what to tell you. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYB. Remember that Rush Limbaugh song, the Women's Lib song? We're fierce. We're strong. We're in your face. Man, I need to find that and re-kick that up because I'll tell you what, I've kicked over a hornet's nest. Bunch of SJW women who are all upset about it. It's my body, my choice. Yeah, and no one wants to be around it, and we shouldn't have to be forced. I mean, what you do with yourself and your body, excuse me a second. What you do with your body is your prerogative. And I've got a story to explain this a little bit more, but don't make me pay for your poor decision making. Speaking of poor decision making, U.S. marijuana smoking is at a record high. Cigarettes at a record low. Gallup poll finds. You know, remember when in the 80s and 90s, ladies and gentlemen, I know for you Gen Zers and Alpha who can't read and think or anything like that, you're just mind rot. Every day, Mrs. Kohler would talk every day for a minute about the dangers of smoking. And she had, like, we had 183 days of school. She had a different fact about how bad smoking was for you every day of 4th grade. I remember this. Every day she'd talk about how it would destroy your lungs, the cilia in your lungs, how it would hurt your breathing the next day. She just went on and on and on. And you know what? I didn't smoke, and neither did most of the kids in our class smoke. Imagine if we did the same thing about marijuana. Now, I know a lot of people like to blaze, and they say they can get through the day and they are productive, but it's incredible. 17% of Americans report smoking marijuana, tying Gallup's record high from 2023. I can understand why people were blazing back in the day and during COVID. Earlier this year, the Trump administration signed an order reclassifying medical marijuana as less dangerous drug. I disagree with President Trump. I think by us allowing this decline, we're hurting our society. But we won't see it in the next 5 years. We won't see it in the next 10 years. We'll see it in the next generation, in the generation after that. Well, Andrew, alcohol is the same thing. Well, it might be. But alcohol's been around for a long time. So is pot. But the pot that you were smoking back in the 80s and 90s, and what's his shorts from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Spicoli smoking. Who was the guy from Breakfast Club? What a great movie, huh? When movies were movies. I'm promising you the stuff they were smoking there is nothing like the stuff that these kids are smoking today. Frying their brains, lacing it with stuff. Adults aged 30 to 49 are most likely to smoke dope, with 25% reporting use. Separately, 15% of U.S. adults now report consuming marijuana edibles. And I'll tell you what, if you've never had an edible before, it will knock you on your... And you don't think that it's noticeable, but I promise you, everybody else is noticing it, fam. Cigarette smoking matches is record low at 11%. We're getting rid of it, while vaping remains steady at 9%. Vaping is even worse than smoking, ladies and gentlemen. Vaping makes everything that you inhale worse, whether it be tobacco, whether it be marijuana, or whatever else you're trying to do. Vaping is bad news, ladies and gentlemen, bad news. And we're sitting here cheering on the fact that we're manipulating our minds with marijuana. Well, a record number of American women are on mood-enhancing pharmaceutical drugs. And we're wondering why our society is going down. And the people who are the lone voices out in the wilderness saying, not that we need to get rid of it, but maybe we ought to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. Because at some point, all that dope is going to start affecting future generations. It's going to affect the way they interact with people. It's going to affect the way that they work. It's going to affect the way that they think, how they problem solve, deductive reasoning, critical thinking. All that's going to literally, quite frankly, go to pot. Andrew, you can't do that. And you know what? When I was 16 and I enlisted in the Navy, I'll never forget this. And if I've told this story, I apologize, but I'll never forget getting called out of Mr. Newman's U.S. history class. Andrew Gosser report to the principal's office immediately in the middle of class over the whole school. All of Cary Grove heard it. They're like, oh, Andy in trouble. No, it was Naval Criminal Investigative Service doing my background investigation, swearing up and down that I did drugs, that I smoked pot, that I did coke. And they were basically scaring the hell, and I never did. And they went to all my friends, Jared, Eric, don't want to say Jeff, Kirby. They interviewed all my friends. No, Andy's never done it. They came back and said, if you ever do it, you're going to lose your security clearance. And I was scared to death because if I lost that, I was going to go to a bad place. And I got a pretty good job. I was an aviation electronics technician. Actually, I was an AQ, a radar tech, but then they got rid of AQ and made me an AT, which I'm fine with. And not only that, I got F-14s as a high-risk troubled young male back in 1988, 89. Hooked me up. Coincidentally, my F-14 instructor, his name, Petty Officer Weed, kind of tying it all together in a neat little package. Namtrade Groot at Miramar. For those who were there, they were there. And Todd Redwood can back me up on that if he's out there listening. My point is that we are making these hallucinogenic drugs, whether it's mild in scope or big in scope, more mainstream. And I am not arguing the benefits of CBD, and I think that should be studied to the max extent possible, and I welcome it. But let's not kid ourselves. You sit there and you're blazing all that THC, you are going to reprogram your brain a little bit. And we all see it. Why did we call it dope? I mean, there were reasons why we nicknamed the Michoacan what we named the Michoacan. And then, of course, the culture made it a big deal. And can I be considered a hypocrite on this? Well, I could see someone making the argument, but not really. It's a freedom of speech thing. But you look at the culture and the music that glorified getting high, doing drugs, banging chicks without a care in the world. And we're wondering why our kids aren't taking us seriously anymore. And that's the thing that I see more than anything. Like, you have these parents sitting there saying, don't drink, honey. Don't drink, little Sarah. That's your daughter's name. It's not my daughter's name. Don't drink, little Sarah. And yet mom is sitting there with a gin and tonic every night getting slammed while dad's toking up and saying, don't do drugs. And the kids are like, what are we doing here? For all of the faults for Gen Z, Gen A, and the young millennials, for all the faults they have, attention to detail is not one of those faults. And you are a role model and an example, whether you want to be a role model or not. And right now, the United States is not a role model. Marijuana sales are up. Gallup poll is showing it, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to The Andrew Gossett Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back.
Inez, I know you want to be in the WNBA, but tell us what Natasha Cloud said to you. What was she yelling at you when she came toward you?
So I went to the game, right? And I actually loved the game because I enjoyed the game. This is my passion, and this is my what was my childhood dream, just basketball. And in the first half, I watched the game. It was an amazing time. And then the second half, towards the third quarter, they put Sophie Cunningham in. And I remember around the last 3-minute mark, she shot the ball, and I put my hand in the air to celebrate it, right? And then Natasha Cloud saw that, my celebration. Literally the next position, she came back and she started yelling at me and said, "She's not going to sleep with you."
Wait, who's not going to sleep with you?
Sophia Cunningham is not going to sleep with
I don't even understand. Are you trying to,
I'm not
sleep
trying
with Sophie
to. No,
Cunningham?
definitely not. Definitely not. I want to make
This is going to be good, WNBA. Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. I know we kind of took a little side diversion with that pot segment, but I felt it was appropriate because I'm thinking a lot of those mothers who are sitting there throwing their babies around on Tic Tac over the toilet, sitting there throwing ice into the sink or into the tubs and destroying their bathrooms, all to show solidarity for this Lindsay, what's her shorts story is just nuts to me. But meanwhile, here we have a real woman trying to stand up for women's rights. Miss Enos getting interviewed on the Ingram angle about what was said between him and that lesbian WNBA player. And all I got to say is this: when Miss Enos gets into that WNBA, I'm watching that game. I'm going to watch that game. And I've got much more to say with this, but this is coming from the Ingram angle on Fox. Don't normally quote him too much. But in this case, got Miss Enos on, who identifies as a woman. We're good to go.
Inez, I know you want to be in the WNBA, but tell us what Natasha Cloud said to you. What was she yelling at you when she...
Did anybody even know who Natasha Cloud was before she went and had a complete spasm on the court? Nobody knew, because she was just an average WNBA player. Nothing special to write home about.
she came toward you?
So I went to the game, right? And I actually loved the game because I enjoyed the game. This is my passion, and this is my what was my childhood dream, just basketball. And in the first half, I watched the game, and it was an amazing time. And then the second half, towards the third quarter, they put Sophie Cunningham in. And I remember around the last 3-minute mark, she shot the ball, and I put my hand in the air to celebrate it, right? And then Natasha Cloud saw that, my celebration. Literally the next position, she came back and she started yelling at me and said, "She's not going to sleep with you."
What kind of slut thinks like that? Just because a guy looks at a girl doesn't mean that he wants to sleep with her. Only a Jezebel spirit thinks like that. Sorry for the language, but it's just, we got to call it what it is. And I know this is a hard discussion today, hard discussion here at the Andrew Gosser Show. We don't shy away from it. But if you're a woman and a guy puts his hands in the air and is cheering a WNBA game, and your biggest retort is, Sophie Cunningham's not going to sleep with you, well, you are a peon, a myopic thinker. You are truly under a Jezebel spirit. And brother, I can't say brother Enos because it's Miss Enos. But Miss Enos, I hear you, my friend. I hear you.
Wait, who's not going to sleep with you?
Sophia Cunningham is not going to sleep.
I don't even understand. Are you trying to?
I'm not trying
Sophie
to. No,
Cunningham?
definitely not. Definitely not. I want to make this very clear. Definitely not. And I'm just confused at that point. I'm like,
You know who's confused? Every red-blooded American male out there. I would dare say most males out there are confused over this spell, this witchcraft that's over this women today. This spirit of Jezebel that's hovering over. What doesn't matter whether you're 80, 20, 40, or 7 years old. I've seen some videos of some girls who are 4 years old, and they've got a worse mouth than a chief petty officer in the United States Navy. Chief, I'm serious. You hear this, and you would be so taken aback. But then you would go into chief mode, and you set them straight. I'm going with the chief petty officer. You ever seen one of their coffee mugs? That'll say all you need to say.
I turn around to my manager. I'm like, what is she talking about? And he was shocked. And after that, I was like, the next position, I was like, I'm not trying to sleep with her. I'm just here to protect women and support my friend Sophie Cunningham. And then after that, obviously, the next position, she started to yell and cuss at me. And I was like, there are so many kids in that stance. There are so many teenagers that
What was she? What? You don't say the words. The F word?
Oh, a lot of F-bombs. A lot of F-bombs. A lot of F-bombs.
Yeah, that woman is so good with her vocabulary. She can't express her feelings without dropping words that you wouldn't want your daughter to hear as a young teenager or as a 987654321 year old. My daughter's 17, and I don't like her dropping the F-bomb. Sorry, Toots. I know it happens sometimes. Farming sheep, it's hot, it's humid. You let one slip. I forgive you. Your old dinosaur did the same thing. And it's not that you don't do that, but I can sit there and have a cogent argument with somebody who completely disagrees with me. I don't need to raise my voice, and I get myself mentally tuned up, and I start using the vocabulary that the good Lord gave me and the recall that I still have, and I can make a point without cursing. I'll use all the words in the repertoire that I'm illegally allowed to use under the FCC rules and guidelines. Junk saying it's all Gosser, no breaks today. Yeah, I know. Well, women will do that to a guy. Women will drive a man nuts. Not the Sweepy, though. Sweepy's the smartest woman I know. Second smartest person walking this earth. You know the story. You know the story. Let's finish this one up, ladies and gentlemen.
And at that point, I'm confused because, obviously, she is loved by the Chicago fans, and she has so many fans on the stage.
She's a talented player.
Many kids.
This is in Chicago. That makes it all understandable to me. All understandable to me. That mayor that they got in Chicago, he is a DEI hire from hell. He's so bad that he's got black women running against him for mayor on the Republican ticket, for crying out loud. True facts. He's turning Chicago red, Republican red. He's so bad with his DEI hires and his DEI policies, running Walgreens out of Chicago, running Walmart out of Chicago. I got a soft spot for Chicago. I used to live around there. I always used to brag about it. Hey, I'm from Northwest Side. But my goodness, Chicago, land of the DEI, Chicago Sky, and they got that crazy hair chick with the long blonde hair who got ejected for decapitating Sophie Cunningham too.
I'm like, this shouldn't be happening. This is not a sportsmanship. Like, so I was confused. And then she started to, come towards me. I literally got up. I played 11 years in NBA. I know the rules. I did not step over the baseline. So I literally
You were
just got up,
courtside, essentially.
opened my hands, right? And I was like, I'm here to protect women. I'm here to support my friends. That's all. And then she was just cussing and yelling. And then right after that, the security just got in and just threw me out. I was like, what did I do?
What'd you do? You were a woman who was supporting Sophie Cunningham, Miss Enos. Don't you know that goes against the 13th commandment of the Democratic National Committee and Democrat Socialist Association? You messed up there, my friend. Think about this. I'm sitting here actually trying to make stuff up as just absurd and ostentatious as I can. And you're like, yeah, the Democrat Socialists of America, they would be for this chick dropping F-bombs. You think about the Democrat women, Pocahontas, Senator Pocahontas, she'd be all over that. The senator from Minnesota, her name escapes me, Amy Klobuchar, she'd be all over that. She's going to be the next governor of Minnesota, by the way. DSA loves them some Amy Klobuchar. It still gets me. I remember this text I got yesterday. Why are you talking about the votes that's happening in Minnesota? You should be worried about Mississippi. Well, I am worried about Mississippi. That's why I had Alan Ramsey come on my show with Sarah Vieira last Friday, and that's why they were on WYAB yesterday. I wonder if any other stations had them on. They might have. I don't know. I didn't hear about it. Normally I would. There's no radio station, no media organization in the state of Mississippi that's doing more to try to point out voter irregularities in Mississippi than WYB, Kim Wade, Clay Edwards, Andrew Gosser, Chip Matthews, Lindsey Beckham. Not necessarily in that order, but pretty much. It's ridiculous to me how people can be so hypocritical and point out one flaw in someone's argument and then dismiss the whole argument. It's moronic, it's sophomoric, and it's happening more and more. I think it's because they're smoking all the drugs and taking all the pills and pill popper. You ever see that cartoon, Foamy the Squirrel, and his sidekick Pillsy? I feel like that, man. I feel like that. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show. I don't know where the time flies, but we're going to take our last commercial break of the show today. We'll be right back. Oh, how I miss FIFA. I really do miss it. Man, I love that. It's so good. You know, today is the 25th of August, and it's a special day. And I'm going through all these texts. If you're a man out there and you want to get close to God again, our church is having a Saturday get together just for men. And lunch and dinner are going to be served. Brother Brett Tessitore is going to be there. Pastor Nathan Villa is going to be there. It's going to be an awesome time. If you really want to connect, then just shoot me a text at 601-879-5060. I'll get you hooked up. And it's going to be an awesome day with like-minded people just out there worshiping Jesus, reintroducing people to the Word, getting back into the Word. Lord knows I need to get back into it. I'm not arguing that by any means necessary. I need to get back into there. But I want to do that, and I might plug it for the next couple days. Another person saying, Andy, you sure were salty today. Well, look, I'm a salty dog. You want to know one of the greatest salty memories? I love talking about this. When I showed up to Nimitz as an Air Force captain, and I saw Master Chief Troy Fix sitting right there, and he's looking at me in utter disbelief. How I went from AT2 Petty Officer, Second Class Gosser, to Captain Gosser. And we were up there on the flight deck doing a FOD walk down. And I can remember hearing some of the other sailors say, oh, look at the Navy captain. Look at the Navy captain up here, or the Air Force captain doing a FOD walk down. Look at that. Make sure he doesn't trip over a tie-down chain. And Troy Fix just goes and says, that guy's got more time on the crapper than you got at sea, son. Just know your role and watch your mouth. And I'll never forget that. And man, every FOD walk down I could do on Nimitz as an Air Force captain, I did. It didn't matter if it was nighttime, if it was raining out. It was off the coast of San Diego, so it wasn't snowing or nothing like that. And I'd see some strange things in the sky, but yeah, but I digress. But man, I loved it being at sea. And you know, the Air Force took the sailor away from me, and that's fine, and I agree to it. But it never got my salt, man. And I'm staying salty. We're supposed to stay salty too. Bible talks to us about that. But man, yeah, just being out there on the ship with the sailors as an Air Force Bubba who could speak Navy, solving problems, actually getting the Air Force to play well with the Navy was a true achievement in my career. It's one of the best things that I ever did. We literally changed con ops, and normally this goes straight up, you know, to the star level. And man, that was just a great day. Great day. Loved it. Well, like I said, today is the 25th of August, 2026. And I would be remiss if I didn't give a quick shout out to this person, beautiful woman in my life. Dare I call her my sister? My sister Daphne turns 52 today. Whoop, whoop. And, you know, I was always gone in my life. So once I hit 17, I was out of the house. Actually, 16, I left the house. I was gone. I was out of there. But my sister and I, we always stayed in touch. I could have done a better job, Daphne, staying in touch with you than you staying in touch with me. I will never forget how you sent me the oatmeal and raisin cookies out on the USS America. The amount of stuff I was able to trade for your oatmeal cookies, spectacular. I got laundry done. I'd get my laundry done for a month for 3 cookies. That's how good your oatmeal and raisin cookies are. It's still the standard. Sweet Pea, you're right there, but Daphne's oatmeal and raisin cookies are the standard. You've got a beautiful husband. You've got beautiful kids. And I just want to take this time that I've got on WYAB to honor you, sister. Daphne, I love you so much. You're wonderful. And I'll be giving you a call later on today. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. And tomorrow, Chip Matthews is going to be filling in for me. Quick little appointment that I got to get to. Until then, take care, everybody. Be blessed. Yes, and amen. Amen, ladies and gentlemen.